Hi, thank you for joining me again. We're very sorry that we didn't have this update in October because things were too hectic. But in the past 2 months or a couple of weeks, we continue to make very good progress for in the game design and development. And we are very excited still with what we have done and accomplished. So here are our updates for the past couple of weeks or 2 months. I'm gonna start off by looking into the current land reward system. I'm gonna talk about this, and following that, I will show you guys some of the new character skills that we're working on. And I'm gonna talk about the current battle progress along. After this, we will look into some of the NFTs that we plan to launch. And we're gonna look at the art production as usual, and we're gonna talk about our next step. All right. So let's get started. So the land reward system. Right now, the land reward system is currently put on hold because we have identified there are a couple flaws and issues with the smart contract that we built in the past. So we want to put on hold and investigate some of the problems that we have within the land reward system. So you cannot claim rewards now. However, this will not impact your rights for claiming the rewards. So for example, if let's say I still have 100 days left for my land rewards, once we reopened the airdrops, you can continue and receive your airdrops for the next 100 days. All right. Um, and we plan to reopen the land reward again and first week of December. So please stay tuned for the updates, and we will let you know immediately right after we open the system. All right. We're very sorry for the inconvenience, but this is something that's very important for the project. Another thing is we're looking at this land reward system, and we think there are room for improvement and there are rooms for adjustments, which we will announce in the near future. Right. So and these changes are necessary, which we think that will ensure the longevity of the Velhalla projects. But before we make any changes, we'll make sure that we will make full communications and let you guys know what are the changes and why we're making these changes. So stay tuned for that as well. Once we have more information, we will announce it right away. All right. So let's talk about the character skills. As you know, we have 4 different factions. Again, the warriors, their attack output is higher than average, and they cost average to deploy. So 4 different factions comes with different characteristics. The mutants, their moves faster in terms of attack, and their speed is faster, but they cost less to deploy. So different characters comes with different characteristics. The faction is just generalizing their behavior. Now, but if you dive into the individual characters, their design needs to be very specific and unique. So when we come to the design, we need to make sure the VFX, the animation, and also the numeric setup, the numeric matrix that we set up, the AI, everything blending together perfectly. And this is just to show you a few skills that we're working on, just like in the past month or 2 months ago when we have the updates. These are the individual components that, in terms of VFX, that we are working on, which it's a a component which it needs to tie in with all the other aspects that I mentioned. All right, so just to quickly show you some of the animation and VFX that we are working on. Again, so there are different characteristics. So I mentioned mutants and warrior, but for cyborgs, they're highly skilled at defensive on defense, and they have higher HP. But they're more costly to deploy. So you can think of them as tank units, right? So and Valorians, they're long range, right? So they could attack from far distance, but they are the unit that has the least HP, meaning they could be killed easily. So different units comes with different skills, and factions come with a generalized behavior and the characteristics. Okay, but individual characters will have its more unique design and skill sets. So this is just a lot of heroes that we're trying to come up with. So in total, we are looking at 40 heroes. And again, what we have done is we build an AI framework, we build a VFX framework, the animation frameworks, and everything ties into the battle's core system, right? But what we are doing now is we're plugging in the individual units one by one. So we're creating the individual character using the framework that we're creating. We're basically mass producing the units right now. Okay, so these are some of the character skills that we're working on. Now, once you have all these characters, again, just like we talked about in the previous updates, when you put everything together, then you will have an entire battle that could be we put together the entire battle visually. So this is the latest the battle video that I would like to show or share with you guys. So the change now is very subtle. Unlike what we did in the previous earlier months, maybe in August or September, you will see major visual improvements or progress made, because that was the time when we were building the framework, putting everything architecturally together. But now you have to pay attention to the subtle details. So you could see there are VFX that has been adjusted. For example, this little blue dot particle that shoot from distance by the soldiers. Okay, so those are new. So like I said, the characters are plugged in as we move forward. So we created as we are creating new character, polishing the new characters as we move forward. There are updates on the very subtle details that we made in the game. And you have to pay really close attention to recognize those details. But visually, you could probably tell it looks a lot better than what we have done in the previous updates. A lot of the VFX and also skills are new, and it wasn't here before. And we are still making a lot of changes as we are moving along. As you could tell, there are finish line in each, and there are three finish lines, right? So once you reach the finish line, you will earn the stars. So basically, you want to earn 3 stars to get the star rewards after the battle. All right. So if you earn 10 stars, you will get you will get a chance to open a loot box. Okay, so on a daily basis, right? So your goal is to progress and get to the end destroy the main tower to earn 3 stars. All right. And then if you get 3 stars, you get to open a daily 10-star loot box. Now, if you fail, let's say if you get a star or 2 stars, you still okay. You could try multiple attempts to get to 10 stars. All right. So there is a 10-star loot box on the daily basis for the player to unlock. So that's the updates on the combat, and this is the combat video, the latest combat video that we have. Now I'm going to talk about the next topic, which is the campaign and NFTs. So we plan to launch a series of activities or campaign, which is a team building or marketing campaign. And we will use the new NFT that we created as a reward. And these NFTs are going to be given as a reward for a member who participated in the campaign. And it comes with different if you participate in the campaign, then depending on your participation, we will give out the NFT accordingly to your dedication. The detail of this will be announced in Discord, but what I'm trying to say is these NFTs are not easily available. They're not for the to get it from within the game. It's not going to be easy. So for example, Valkyra, this character, you're looking at probably 0.125% of getting this character as of now, as I'm speaking now, because we're looking at 40 characters at launch. So you're looking at 0.125% of getting Valkyra. And for this warrior character, you're looking at maybe 0.25% of getting this character. All right, so it's very difficult to get these characters from within the game, but if you participate in the campaign in our Discord channel, you could get them at a much higher probability, or it's much easier for you to obtain these characters. Besides the characters, we also have the decoration units. These are the units that you could put into either your LAN or the home base to decorate your design. So these decoration units are also very rare. You're also looking at 0.2 and 0.5. 0.2 for the Draker, and also 0.5 for the Citadel, to get them from within the game. But if you participate in the campaign, you will, it will be much easier for you to get them, much more easier. So please go to our Discord and stay tuned for the announcement on how and when you could get these NFTs. All right. So these are the campaign NFTs that we plan to launch. I'm going to talk about the system design. So we made some good progress in terms of the system design. The first I'm going to talk about is the daily login rewards. All right. So in a way, it's similar to many other games that you see out there. There are daily login gifts that we will hand out to people who play the game. So what you're looking at here is the 30 days login rewards. This is set up, 28 days. All right. So this is set up systematically, so that and created and developed systematically, so that we could actually fill in different items that we want to give out. each and every one of the slots. So in terms of operating this game, it's tools that's available for our game designer or a game operator to decide how we want to fill in the rewards for the daily login gift. So the system is already created, and this is a 28 days reward system panel. In addition to the 28 days rewards, we have 7 days newbie gift. So this is slapped on top of this 28 days login rewards. So as a new player, if you continue to log in on a daily basis, we will give you these additional rewards as an incentive. All right. So you're getting 2 rewards when you log in. All right. So one for the 7-day, another one for the 28-day from the 28-day panel. All right. And these two systems has been developed. All the rewards that you're seeing here are temporarily they are temporarily placeholder. We will decide specifically what are the rewards before we launch the game. All right. Another thing that we are polishing or working on is the blueprint deployment. So notice how we mentioned in the past that on the defensive side, you could actually design your own dungeon. So by collecting different blueprints or develop different blueprints, you could deploy the blueprints on the battlefield and place different units on top of it to help you defend your dungeon. All right. So once you create your layout and also create your dungeon or design, you could actually click on the mock battle to take a look at how the battle progresses, and you could make basically simulate how your enemy could progress, and then you can make adjustments after you view it, right? So this is a huge effort because you're looking at an editor that essentially you become a game designer, right? You're, as a player, you're designing your own dungeon, and we are creating a dungeon designer or dungeon editor and open up this dungeon editor to the public and let the player create their own dungeon, right? So this is a very huge effort, and we're getting very close to completing this this system. We still have a couple parts which we're optimizing and fixing, but you're looking at a full completion maybe in the month of December, which we are very excited about. By then, we will show you a full video and perhaps some early tutorials to let you know on how you could create your own dungeon using this tool, this editor. So this editor is actually built within the game. All right. So every player will get to use this editor to create their own dungeon. All right. The next system that I would like to talk about is the warehouse. So on the left-hand side, this is the warehouse. On the right-hand side, this is what we call the backpack. So there's a mislabel here, but the idea is whenever you build a warehouse on the land or on the home base, it will increase the capacity of your warehouse, right? And then your backpack, the size of your backpack is fixed, okay? And then you could always move around resources. It's only when you move your resource or items into the backpack, it's then that you could use it to, for example, go through the synthesis system or place the unit onto the land, design your land, all right? Or feed into the synthesis system to build something, right? So a backpack is something that you want to use. A warehouse is is a place where you want to store, right? So there's two different type, and the reason to create this is because there is going to be a case where some player is just going to have humongous amount of items, which it's not enough for them to put into their backpack. So we have a warehouse for storage for them to delegate some of the least used items, place some of the least used item into the warehouse, but keep the ones that you want to use frequently in the backpack. All right. And finally, just want to show you guys on the planet and the planet building features. So again, this is something that we wrap up in August and September, but we are still continue to make polish and adjustments to some of the details. So again, the details are very subtle. You can't really tell if you just maybe just looking at the video, but there are code refactoring and also there are optimization that we made in the game, and there are changes that we made or bug fixes that we made, and there are additional items that we created. We want to put into the and throw it in there and check to see if it fits. So the change are visually very subtle, but it all comes together pretty well. All right, so this is also, this is the building on the land, and I also in the video at the beginning of the very beginning of this video, it shows building on the home base, and it comes together pretty well. All right, so these are some of the in terms of the system, the major ones that we are working on, and we made pretty good progress, I would say. And in the month of December and January, we're looking forward to continue to make even more progress. Hopefully, by then, we could start to put everything together, and you could see the game built pretty soon. So after the game design, I'm going to talk about the art production. So I always say this. So when you talk about game, art is probably the most important aspect of the game design and development. So we treat art very seriously. All right. So when you look at our game art, it's not something that we want to compete with AAA. All right. So we're not talking about the AAA console game that the graphic is so intense and you need to pay close attention, and it's long session. It's sometimes very overwhelming to play the game, and it requires a lot of resources because it's playing on a console or PC. What you're looking at our game, it's we position the game to be cross-platform, lightweight, short session, and when you look at the game, it's very similar to some of the mobile game title that you see quite successfully in the Web2 space. So, for example, like Clash of Clans, right? So the graphic itself, it should be delightful. And when you look at the graphics, again, we're not competing against AAA. It's not focusing on individual units or environment, but instead you're looking at the volume, right? So as using that as our style guide and principle, we could start mass producing our art pieces, and that's the part where the art production. So when we deal with art in terms of 3D, like I said before, we always want to come up with the different 3D draft. So these are some of the decoration building that we're still continuing to make throughout the months of October and November. And the reason that we need vast amount of decoration buildings is you can think of it as a loot box that requires a lot of different items, right? So you don't know what you're going to get when you produce your decoration building. All right, some is very rare, some is very common, right? And obviously the common one is going to come up more frequently than the rare one. All right. So And once you collect and you design your land with these rare decoration building, the more benefits will be offered to you, right? So hence, the desire for the rare decoration building is going to be high, right? So that's the reason behind this whole rationale. So the game design rationale. So we need a lot of decoration building, comes with different styles and different design. So these are the 3D draft. A lot of them are being created, and once we have the 3D draft, we could start working on the 3D model itself. And we created a lot of these different kind of decoration building. Some are very rare. For example, this one. Some are very common, which it doesn't have doesn't have much value. All right. And another thing about decoration building is because it's not functional buildings, right? So once you put these decoration building onto the your planet or your home base, you can make your design look very unique and it stands out, right, comparing to others. So decoration buildings are actually very important. All right. All right. So next, with that, I'm going to talk about the characters that we made during the month. We are getting very close to the final parts of our character mass production, and these are some of the characters that we created during the month of October and November. And again, at launch, we're looking at launching 40 characters, including the ones that we will use for a marketing campaign and perhaps in some of the other part of this game system, for example, mini game. All in all, total 40 characters. The reason that we need this many characters is because we're looking at launching maybe one character bi-weekly. So at launch, we need a good batch of characters on hand so that we can roll out these characters periodically. All right. And on a set schedule, like for example, bi-weekly, one new character. All right. So that will give us a leeway for producing the characters. We don't need to scramble, after our launch, and we don't need to scramble and come up with the character. And these are some of the characters that we done in the month of October and November. All right. And with the characters, obviously, there are going to be the animation and, like I said, the VFX. Some of this animation we already done, but we made adjustment to the animation because of the new hit requirement. Notice how I mentioned in my previous update, we would like to see when the character got hit, we would like to see the character got blown and fly up in the air. So with that, we need to add additional hit animation to display that visual requirement. So these are some of the adjustments that we made to some of the characters that we already created in 3D model to make sure that they have all these new animations. A lot of the animation are common, but for this very specific ones, we will add in additional animation just for the characters. So those will be I will share with you guys those new animation perhaps in our updates before the game launch. So some of the rare character we would like to add on its characteristics. So we want to improve its characteristics by adding new animation on top of it. So I will share with you guys some of the rare characters, their behavior and their characteristics as we getting closer to launch. All right. So with that, that finished the art production section, and a lot of work, a lot of work. And now I'm going to talk about the next step. So looking at the game, we have the battle, we have the offensive battle, we have the defensive play, we have the building parts on the home base and the planet. We have the synthesis system that we talked about in our last past updates. So all are coming along pretty well. So what are some of the remaining systems that we still need to work on? Actually, there's still quite a few. The ones that we're gonna target in December are first thing first, the leaderboard or the ranking system. So with leaderboard, there will be leaderboard rewards. So these are some systems that we are working on right now. And we are still working on, so like I said, we just finished our we're wrapping up, not finished, we're wrapping up our defensive, the editor that we want to provide to the players so that they could design their own dungeon, right? So all these individual blueprints are actually manufactured from the functional building. So you collect the resources and you try to create the blueprint, and you will get different blueprints. Some some are good, some are bad, right? And the blueprint manufacturing system is something that we're working on right now as well. So production what you're looking at, this is the production complete screenshot. So some are rare, some are super rare. Okay, again, it comes with different grade and different layouts. So we're working on this. Another system that we're working on, obviously, is the battle optimization. We will continue to work on this for the month of December. And we will try to wrap up the characters, all 40 characters, before we launch the game. So you will see a lot more animation, a lot more skills and VFX production in our next couple updates, but less so on the 2D draft and then the 3D productions or the character 2D's illustration. Okay, but more so on the character actual 3D production. All right, and then obviously with that, and also plugging it into the game, make sure functionally it makes sense and visually it makes sense. All right. And because there are so many systems that we already built, another thing that we're starting to look into is the system integration. We want to make sure that we could tie everything together. So it's a very big game, actually. So if you look at all these different systems, you want to put everything together. All right. So once we put everything together, this is the tricky part, because now it will come, it will require to investigate all the different bugs and also different balance of different parts of the system needs to make sense. The flow of the system needs to make sense. The resources, whether it makes sense. There's many different things that we need to look into. So this is actually the hardest part of the game development. Basically polishing everything. There are still few components that we're still need to work on, but we are getting really close to the full integration, which we are preparing to do in the next couple of months. All right, so with that, that concludes our update for the past couple of weeks, for the past 2 months. And I will do another update 30 days later. So I will see you guys again. Thank you for joining me for this update.